Absolutely. I can expand the story, adding more depth to the world, characters, and tension, while keeping the original flow. Here's a longer, more immersive rewrite. Asterisk, the hall was vast beyond comprehension, stretching into shadows that swallowed the ceiling. Light sources hovered like suspended stars, drifting lazily in the air, casting pale glows across the dark glass walls that revealed the universe beyond billions of distant stars. Indifferent and cold. Built 5 centuries ago, the Galactic Concord Council Chamber had been designed to make even the most confident beings feel insignificant. It achieved that aim with merciless precision. Asterisk, Ambassador Alar Kavach of Earth stood at the long, curved table, eyes scanning the room. Representatives of more than 200 species occupied the seats around her. Some were towering, limb-thick and insectoid, others fragile and barely humanoid. Some had eyes that seemed to multiply when they moved, while others had none, sensing their surroundings through vibrations or electrical impulses. Air composition varied from seat to seat. Some breathed in atmospheres that would be lethal to others. Devices translated clicks, hums, pheromones, and chirps into words she could comprehend. Despite these differences, every single gaze was upon her, waiting, expecting. Asterisk, 11 years as an ambassador had taught her to stand firm. She knew her duties, understood her strategies, and believed in her mission. Beside her, Admiral Sarah Vance radiated quiet command. Tall, with short gray hair and eyes dark as deep space, she missed nothing. She had fought in 3 border conflicts before Earth was even a full Concord member, seen atrocities and victories that would haunt most minds forever. But even she, hardened by decades of battle and interstellar diplomacy, felt a gnawing tension. In her chest that day, Asterisk Dreth Voss, the Velhari senior counselor, read the proposal aloud. Thin, pale, with 4 long fingers on each hand, he spoke deliberately, each word weighted with authority. The proposal, the unified disarmament and trust. Accord was simple in concept, yet monumental in consequence. Earth would transfer its primary war fleet, all 2,400 ships of the Iron Covenant Armada, to the Concord. They would serve under Concord Command in a joint peacekeeping force. In exchange, Earth would secure a permanent seat on the Security Circle. Hano, the most powerful decision-making body in the Concordian, faster access to trade routes, medical technologies, and construction support. Asterisk Admiral Vance leaned close to Kavach, her voice low. Era, this isn't a good deal. Asterisk Kavach's eyes flicked toward her. The Security Circle seat alone is worth 10 fleets. We've sought it for 20 years. Asterisk, that's precisely why I'm worried. Why now? What changed? Asterisk Kavach's gaze wandered briefly to the ceiling, then back. The K expansion in the outer sectors has unsettled the elder races. They want to appear united. Bringing Earth fully into the fold is a visible demonstration of that unity. Asterisk, or they want our fleet out of our hands before we become too strong to manage, Vance countered. Asterisk Kavach studied her silently for a long moment. We've been tolerated for 30 years. The decision is ours to make, not yours to fear. Asterisk Drethos finished reading, and the chamber fell silent. Kavach stood, the weight of her voice carrying across the hall. The people of Earth proudly accept this accord. We have always believed in cooperation over conflict, in trust built carefully. Today, we take another step toward a better galaxy for all. Asterisk applause erupted not in a single voice, but in myriad forms, clicks, hums, rustling membranes, and vibrations, translated by devices into unified approval. Vance watched the signing, unease deepening like a stone sinking in her chest. Asterisk at the reception that followed, alien diplomats approached with gracious smiles. A Nihari elder, round-armed and soft-spoken, held Kavach's hand gently. A historic day. You should be proud. Vance lingered at the edge, observing quietly. A young Volhari, Keth Aaron Afro, insectoid, with sharp amber eyes, approached. Her, you do not appear celebratory, he noted. Not yet, she replied. Asterisk, the elders are pleased. More than a trade agreement usually warrants. Your fleet unsettled them for a long time, he said before disappearing into the crowd. Asterisk, back in her quarters. Vance drafted detailed reports to Earth's Department of Military Affairs, requesting delays in the fleet's handover, additional review of the accords, and caution against potential traps. Replies were courteous but firm. The transfer would proceed. Asterisk, the Iron Covenant Armadarists, pride prepared to depart. Built over 40 years, upgraded constantly, staffed by the best soldiers and pilots humanity had produced, the fleet had never lost a major engagement. The flagship ESNS Resolve represented the pinnacle of human engineering. Crews were reassigned to peacekeeping duties under Concord command. Most accepted the orders with quiet professionalism, though some veterans whispered their concerns under their breath. Asterisk, Captain Darren Hall of the Resolve, seasoned at 51 and 12 years aboard his ship, traced his hand over the chair's armrest in a silent farewell to command. All ships report ready, his navigation officer confirmed. Acknowledged, he replied, eyes fixed on the stars. Take us out. Asterisk, the fleet moved, 2,400 ships sliding in formation away from Earth, passing moons and orbital stations. Observers waved from decks and city squares, proud of a mature, trusting gesture. Admiral Vance accompanied the fleet on a Concorde transport, silent, vigilant. 40 Concorde escort ships formed a protective perimeter, guiding the Armada toward Shara Station in the Sahara system. 3 jumps from Earth. Asterisk, 9 days later, the Armada arrived at Shara. Vance's eyes widened at the sheer number of Concorde. Vessels clustered around the station, hundreds of ships, more than she had ever seen together. A cage, not a reception fleet, she murmured. The Armada docked. Then the breakdown began. Channels went silent, scheduled updates failed, status reports arrived, garbled, and finally, total communication blackout. Vance realized her unease had been justified. Asterisk, get me a direct line to Earth, she ordered her aide Prel. Secure channel now. Asterisk, while this played out, a small freighter captain, Goran Ash, picked up a faint distress signal in the Helvera drift. Following it, for hours, he discovered 9 human ships drifting lifelessly. Weapons stripped, engines dismantled, communications reduced to wires, crews surviving on shrinking reserves of air and water. He rescued what he could, calling for help on all frequencies. By the time a rescue convoy arrived, 43 were dead. The rest barely clung to life. Asterisk, in the following weeks. Signals emerged across 12 star systems. Iron Covenant ships abandoned, human crews left to die. Earth reeled as images of gaunt, hollow-eyed soldiers were broadcast, families desperate for news, children recognizing parents for the first time in weeks. Parliament convened emergency sessions. Ministries issued cautious statements. Kovac resigned quietly, leaving no interviews or appearances. Burdened by guilt and responsibility, Asterisk Vance, moved to a secure facility on Titan, refused to rest. She sent urgent reports to military authorities, intelligence agencies, and trusted retired officers. She noticed in the transfer documentation a subtle but crucial detail. Concorde was granted authority over the crews themselves during integration, not just the ships. The discovery came too late to prevent disaster, but was recorded meticulously. Asterisk 17. Days after the first distress signal, a mundane-seeming document arrived from Catherine, the young Valhari trade representative. The file, labeled innocuously, revealed a Concorde internal report from 14 months prior, the Long-Term Strategic Stability Subcommittee's review. 47 pages of neutral bureaucratic language outlined the elder race's long-standing concern, humanity. Asterisk, for 3 decades, Concorde had observed humans adapting to space faster than predicted, developing technology that confounded even their scientists, expanding colonies and growing populations at rates extraordinary by galactic standards. The Iron Covenant Armada had evolved from a defensive force into a genuine strategic concern. Humans had proved effective where others had failed. And now, the elders had acted not to cooperate. But to contain, Vance leaned back in her chair, staring at the ceiling for hours. The unease that had gnawed at her, the hollow silence of derelict ships, the trap woven in bureaucratic language, it all aligned. Humanity had been manipulated. The handover a calculated strategy to weaken and control. And now she had the evidence and the clarity to act. She already knew the next moves, the countermeasures, the warnings that had to go out, and the cost of an action. The galaxy was indifferent, cold. And vast, but Admiral Sarah Vance was determined, focused, and very, very human.